Launching for the end zone. Forget being patient. Odunze. And Washington takes
game
the lead.
of the weekend. This is also going to be Friday night. How about the freaking rematch and the encore and the absolute banger we got in the Pac-12? Before we say goodbye to this conference, before we let it all go, how about two of the better teams we've seen come out of this conference in the last 5, 6, 7 years? I think this Washington team is better than the Washington team that won the Pac-12 back in 2015, went to college football playoff. Now you get to play number 5 Oregon, a top 5 matchup in the Pac-12 before they get sent off. What do we think of this one? I'm fucking pumped.
Yeah, this one's going to be good.
Excited.
This one's going to be really good. I don't think I've been this hyped for a Pac-12 title game ever. Maybe it's because it's on its way out, but I really do not like the college football world being all over Oregon this week. And just, I haven't seen a person outside of Washington fans expect Washington to win this football game, including Vegas. I mean, 9.5 and a team that lost in the first matchup. Are these teams really that different from week 7 or week 8, whenever that matchup happened? So it's going to be a shock to see what happens on the field. I love Oregon. I hate the college football world being all on top of them. I don't know if they cover the number, but I think they win the game. And if they win the game, or is it fair to say whoever wins is in?
I think so. I think so.
I think so too, right?
Absolutely.
So I need Oregon to take that 4th spot. So give me Oregon. I guess I don't like them to cover, but I think they win the game.
When you're looking at this one, Jake, a couple things come to my mind. I don't know about yours. Penix and that offense haven't looked quite right. They kind of looked a little bit off. They haven't got high flying in the last couple. Odunze's still there. But how do we get going again? And then this is the defense you have to do it against. On the flip side, Oregon's been rolling, right? Like, even if they've gotten in battles, they have been rolling. Bo Nix is a great quarterback. They got an incredible run game. They stopped the run in the top, 15, 20 in the country. Defensively, the secondary has been good. Now, this is the team that really gave them headaches, though. If you go back and look at that Washington game, Penix was able to make throws on that secondary because he has such elite talent on the outside. How do you get going again if you're Washington when everything's on the line now and you are, like Park said perfectly, the world's on Oregon, right? How do you get going in the right direction again?
I think Dylan Johnson might underratedly be the most important player in this game. And then for those who don't know, it's the running back for Washington. Like, he had 100 yards in that game against Oregon. We know that they have Odunze and McMillan and a plethora of threats at the outside position for Washington. Are they going to be able to run the ball? Because when they've had success scoring a lot of points, it's been against a lot of bad rush defensive teams. I mean, you go back to the USC game, for instance, when I think he had like 250 yards. But they've proven it a little bit. I mean, he had 89 yards against Oregon State. So it's there, but they're not going to see another rush defense like they've seen from Oregon, but they've also shown that they can do it. The thing with Washington for me is we look at two sides. You look at the metrics, like Oregon's been playing a lot better, you would think. But man, when you look at Washington since the last time they've played, they just find ways to win. It doesn't matter if it's lesser competition or it's about equal competition. They've just found a way to win and hang in these football games, which really makes me skeptical to lay the points with Oregon. I have no idea. To be frank with you, this is just, I understand why it's at 9.5, but at the same time, like, how can you doubt this Washington team? It's kind of like,
how about a Washington
Michigan
team
and
that's
Georgia.
Washington team started to play a little bit of defense, right? We've started to get to the quarterback a little bit. We've started to stop the run a little bit. We haven't had teams go high flying on us.
And then on the opposite side, JP, wait. On the opposite side, you have an Oregon team that can't seem to get stopped. I mean, the first half for these Oregon teams, especially last week against Oregon State, who has a good defense, they couldn't stop them. The first half, they were
down
rolling.
the field. Yeah,
it was crazy. So it's such an opposite matchup of where these teams have gone since they've matched up the first time. Washington is as far as you can be in the good category while almost taking a step back from what we saw that week. So it'll be interesting. Go ahead, Reese.
Yeah. Reese, what are your thoughts on this game? Are you seeing anything different? If you looked at this game from an outside perspective, first look, you're like, that's worth mentioning.
I just, you guys keep talking about it, but the spread is so big. I mean, when you watch this game the first time, it was score, answer, score, answer. Like, I don't know how this game gets outside of double digits for a lead. unless it's a pick 6 late or something like that. Like I think it's going to stay within a touchdown to a field goal the entire game because these are two damn good teams, man. It's number 3 and number 5 in the country. Like this is going to be one of the best football games that we're going to see all year, and I'm excited to see it. I would much rather see. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I picked Washington to be 8-4, not even be anywhere near this, but they've sure shit proved me wrong. I would love to see Oregon win this game. I think they win this game just because I think Bo Nix, I think they've got a little bit figured out. I think that defense will be able to get more stops, but I just think either team being able to consistently get stops, like, you can get 3 or 4 stops in a row, that team can win it. And that's probably got to come off some turnovers too, because we all know you can't, turnovers they're random. They don't know when the hell they're going to happen. I mean, Bo Nix only turned over twice. I think Penix threw 1 interception this game earlier in the year. But it's also, is Dan Lanning going to continue to be aggressive? Is he going to take points this time? Is he going to make the same mistakes he made the first 2 times he's played this team this year and then last year? Is he going to continue to make those same mistakes? Or is he going to take points? Is he going to learn? What kind of Dan Lanning are we going to get?
Or do those gambles and dice rolls pay off this time? Right?
Do they
like
finally
that,
pay off?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the biggest compliment here goes to Husky Stadium. If you're a Washington fan, you got to feel great about you were a favorite. I mean, you won the game outright. And on a neutral field, they think that this team is 10 points better than you. You're that big of a swing. So what a compliment to Husky fans.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see what that stadium looks like in Vegas numbers wise. I think because I think both fan bases are travel worthy fan bases. They will go, but I just want to see what it really looks like live because it's going to be an expensive ticket. Vegas is expensive, but I think in this situation with this being the last Pac-12 title game, them leaving for the Big Ten next year, I think it a little more incentive to get people to go. So Parks, I believe you have Oregon winning, but you're taking Washington to cover. Reese, are you on the same page?
Yeah, I'm going to take Oregon to win, Washington to cover.
Schaefer, you?
I'm honestly, I'm going to take the better coach in this situation. I think it was an outlier for them going to Husky Stadium. I think this defense is going to button up, actually. It's hard to doubt Washington, but I'm going to take Oregon to win and Oregon to cover.
That's what I was just about to say. This is not your 12-year-old wearing a neon Oregon shirt to middle school Oregon defense. This is a completely different branded Oregon team. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
James.
Right?
And like you said, Reese, to your point, like, doesn't Washington have everything to lose and Oregon has – I mean, Oregon's got something to lose. They're still in the college football playoff conversation. Don't get me wrong, but they're the team with the loss. Like, they can be a little more aggressive. Like, Washington's kind of been walking on eggshells these last couple of weeks. Oregon learned from their mistakes in Husky Stadium a few weeks ago. They can be the aggressor and go after them this time.
Well, in my world, I have championship tickets on Oregon and Washington. I'm in a really good spot with the Oregon one, as it's now worth more than I paid for the ticket. The Washington one's kind of sitting even right now. I'm going to be in a good spot either way in this game, but I did pick Washington to win the Pac-12 in the preseason. If you guys remember, I believe I had USC in this matchup against them rather than Oregon, but I'm going to have to continue to go with the dogs here. I really think Oregon wins, but I really think Washington is right there. I think a lot of dice rolls hit for Dan Lanning, like we talked about, but I think Penix just kind of comes back into his own, back into the spotlight, and kind of makes this a hell of a game, right? So I'll take Washington to cover here, and we'll have these ATS graphics out. Again, ATS, we'll tell you who we think is going to win on the pod, but ATS board will just be against the spread. We're not going to do any picks on the Twitter sphere. What do you got, Parks?
Nothing. This will be on YouTube, so thank you to our YouTube audience if you're watching this. I hate that number. I hate the 9.5.
It's gross. I would agree. If I could get 10, I'd feel really, really good about myself.